I didn't see you there. Welcome to Team 2 Incorporated. I'm the owner and general manager, Tim Amoroso. Here at TTI, we are a third-party ethics auditing firm. We have a law, finance, and accounting department. And during our video today, we're going to have managers of each department tell you a little about the projects they are working on. Hannah will speak to you on her interview with KPMG. Quentin will speak on his interview with PNC. Matt and Max will speak on their interview with Reed Smith. And then we'll kick it back to me for a brief conclusion.
First, I will discuss formal systems. In terms of ethical awareness, KPMG provides training for their employees. Initially, when an employee is hired by KPMG, they are set through training, which includes a section on ethics. They are required to do an online course in which they take very seriously. They have to do this just because for accounting it is known that ethics are taken very serious in terms of audits. In addition to the additional training, they are required to read the Code of Conduct annually and periodically have training to update them on the ethics policy. And now I will talk about the leaders. The organizational leaders at KPMG send a clear message. Leaders such as high-level management have recorded themselves talking about ethical standards and what is expected at KPMG. Then have distributed the videos to the employees. It is mandatory for each employee to watch the videos each year that it is provided. The ethical messages within the video are important when an employee is faced with an ethical dilemma. This leads into whistleblowing, which is a very important topic regarding ethics because accountants deal with confidential information on a daily basis. If an employee becomes aware of an unethical action, they can report the misconduct during the audits by the following steps. You can directly contact your manager or supervisor. Inform them again if they do not do anything. Talk to your family, go to your boss's boss, and go to the ombudsman of the company. At KPMG, the ombudsman also provides a discussion hotline which allows employees to anonymously report any illegal and unethical actions that they have experienced. There is also a zero toleration for a retaliation policy. So if you do report something illegal and unethical to the hotline, there can be no repercussions for you. Next, I will discuss informal systems. KPMG does not provide any rewards directly to their employees, but they do integrate their ethical conduct and performance management. If someone acts unethically, that is put into their performance file, and this is taken into consideration whenever they are looking for promotions. And now I'll discuss KPMG's corporate social responsibilities. KPMG focuses on integrity, living green, diversity and inclusion, and corporate citizenship. Jeff DeMarco mainly focused on integrity, which is no surprise because as an accounting firm, you have to hold integrity with everything that you do. Since KPMG had to ensure the quality of their ethics department after Enron, the only suggestions that we could have is to add an additional source for people to report on ethical actions and to continue sending ethical messages annually. And now I'll pass it over to Matt and Max to discuss the Reed Smith interview.
Hi, I'm Matt, alongside my counterpart Max here. We interviewed Reed Smith for our law firm. Reed Smith is an international law firm that is based in Pittsburgh with 25 offices throughout the United States, Europe, Middle East, and Asia. Reed Smith employs over 1,800 lawyers. In order to find out more about their ethics policies, we were able to get in touch with Ed Falkman, who is a risk management lawyer in the business intakes department for Reed Smith. He described himself as a gatekeeper for all the work that comes into the company. His job is to review the work to make sure that there are not any ethical issues that can pop up. Ed was very helpful throughout the process and answered every question we had for him. We came away from our interview not only better informed about the nature of ethics in a law firm, but also impressed some of the measures that Reed Smith has taken in regards to ethics.
As a law firm, Reed Smith has a couple formal policies, one being its Code of Ethics, which is a written document called their Code of Conduct. This starts with vision and core values. Their core values are integrity, quality, teamwork, respect, performance, innovation, and improvement. The code itself is 31 pages long, which is quite lengthy. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to look at it as it is considered proprietary information. There's also the separate manual for attorneys. In that, there's the corporate model, where there is one central policy across all branches of Reed Smith. The Pittsburgh branch does not have their own set of policies or rules. Then we have whistleblowing. For Reed Smith, they told us that they had an ethics hotline website. Anyone who's anonymous could confide in violations regarding their coworkers, and a third party who coordinates anonymously with HR. In terms of dealing with the violation, Reed Smith does have disciplinary actions. These are report directly to HR or third-party vendor. There are also circumstantial consequences, typically HR protocol. For attorneys, there's always potential for professional sanctions through the state disciplinary board, in which they must comply with the government.
All right, moving on to Reed Smith's informal ethical policies. As far as new employees, they require them to read a manual and they have to sign off on it. But mainly they just have what he described it as a checks and balances system, where that's actually Mr. Faulkner's job. He monitors and reviews work and flags any ethical concerns, and he has the opportunity to turn down anything that he has any concerns with. This makes sure no one violates any of the states or companies' uniform ethics guidelines. They don't have a reward system for ethical actions, but he stressed that it's kind of impossible for them to do that, being that they're a law firm. He focus on ethics is necessary for them to stay in business, because they have to comply in order to bring in work to the company. And again, he really stressed that this was unique to law firms.
In addition to their formal and informal policies, Reed Smith also has a corporate social responsibility policy. At the helm of this policy is their pro bono policy, which translates to providing legal services for less. This includes helping persons of limited means. In the past, this typically involved helping children with diabetes in California public schools, post-earthquake aid in Haiti, and nonprofit help, such as Big Brothers and Sisters of America. Reed Smith also stresses giving back to the community. They told us that pro bono was their biggest aspect of community outreach. Their community service programs included helping the elderly in putting together wills, fundraising at their office, Friday denim days, auction for homeless shelters and holidays, and participating in the United Way campaign. The environment is also very important to Reed Smith and their corporate responsibility policy. They have instituted a LEED Green certified office space for the remodeling and expansion of the office, a confidential shredding, which converts paper into digital files, and then a third-party vendor that recycles old paper.
Thanks, Max. That was really helpful. We'll now send it over to Quentin and Aiden, who will tell you about their interview with PNC.
Good afternoon. My name's Quentin Carbone.
And my name's Aiden Barrett.
I don't care. I don't care. You have to be an ethical leader. If you didn't blow the whistle to the ombudsman, he's gone. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go. Hello. Welcome to the finance department here at TTI. The current project we're working on is with PNC Financial Services Group, which is the American Financial Services Corporation based in Pittsburgh. Its assets are approximately $271.2 billion, and they are the 5th largest bank in the United States, the 6th largest bank in terms of deposits and in terms of total assets, and the 3rd largest off-premise ATM provider. The ethical code of conduct is extremely important for a financial corporation of this size. The externalities of their decision have huge impacts on their community and the people surrounding them. Mr. James Bloris, who serves as the Executive Vice President of Retail Banking at PNC Financial Services Group, has reached out to us and asked us to audit their ethics department.
First, we will discuss formal ethics. PNC has a 3-day ethics orientation. Every employee must take a 90-minute recertification every year and review everything PNC requires from an ethics perspective. They have an ombudsman department and an anonymous line for whistleblowing. Employees are required to report any unethical behavior. Reported unethical behavior is then reported to an employee resource information system. People involved can be terminated if they do not report unethical behavior. It is everyone's responsibility to report and investigate. When asked if organizational leaders send a clear ethics message and if ethics is part of their leadership agenda, they said, absolutely. Keep it between the hash marks. Don't go near the sideline. Live the code of conduct.
Mr. Bloris also asked us to audit his informal ethics policies. The two subpoints of the informal policies at PNC are a no tolerance policy on lying and stealing, in which an employee will be terminated immediately if found guilty of either of these. The other topic is their use of role models in the informal policies. PNC's role model is their former CEO, Jim Rohr, who demonstrated superb ethical leadership.
Next, we will be discussing corporate social responsibilities. PNC has paid lots of attention to their corporate social responsibilities. According to Mr. Bloris, the biggest obstacle in hopes of integrating CSR in their business operations is having no support from top management. Mr. Bloris mentioned that all employees have been contributing to the company's CSR, but top management needs to be more engaged. PNC uses several kinds of incentives to implement practices of CSR, which include financial incentives, awards, and sponsored participation in fairs. Mr. Bloris illustrated that the most significant social responsibilities for PNC is a policy towards employees. PNC also focuses heavily on their stakeholders, relationship with clients, communities, and suppliers when considering CSR. To PNC, these factors are all equal and important in value.
From what we've gathered so far from Mr. Bloris, it's clear that PNC has an outstanding ethics policy. Before we pass it back to owner and general manager Tim Amoroso, I'd like to take a minute to compare and contrast some of the projects we're working on. All three firms had a lot in common with respect to their ethics policies. KPMG, Reed Smith, and PNC all had anonymous hotlines. For the most part, their training methods are all the same, and all their employees must be recertified after a certain amount of time. They each had a code of conduct policy, and all the companies place corporate social responsibility at high priority. Although the firms have quite a bit in common, they did vary particularly in corporate social responsibility values. KPMG placed an emphasis on integrity, Reed Smith had their pro bono policy, and PNC focused on their stakeholders. We recommend that the firms continue with their ethics practices and that they're all doing a great job.
Yeah, well, Jimmy, you know the protocol. Okay, well there's... Alright, well I gotta go. Alright, I'll see you. Welcome back. So after reviewing all three interviews, to no surprise, we found that all three firms had exceptional ethical policies. We'd like to thank Jeff DeMarco from KPMG, Ed Falkman from Reed Smith, and James Bloris from PNC. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and have a good day. Sincerely, Team 2.
Ed Falkman went.
Be consistent with Mr. Fogg.
Mr. Falkman.
Pro bono, he means serving, providing
They do not report unethical behavior. It is everyone's responsibility to report and investigate.
I'm sorry.
When asked if organizational leaders...
Mr. Bloris also asked us to analyze their informal ethics. Mr. Bloris also asked... Mr. Bloris also...
The whole interview
get ready.
is cut down to
Shut up.
this formalizer.
Shut up. Ready? Ready? 3, 2. Mr. Bloris also asked us to audit their... Mr. Bloris also asked us to analyze their informal ethics... What? Policies, there you go. Alright, now we're good.
He's trying to change it. He's like, I refuse to read the script.
You do not want to go off of there.
Hey.
Some informal ethics policies at PNC include a no tolerance... Alright.
Mr. Bloris also asked. Do you want me to do
Oh my
it?
god.
Mr. Bloris also asked us to audit the... Mr. Bloris...
Do you need some water, dude?
Say like next we'll be discussing corporate social responsibility, something like that. Just introduce it.
Next, we'll discuss corporate social responsibilities. PNC has paid lots of attention to their corporate social responsibilities. As the routine in the bank industry,
Yeah. Okay. Should I say that?
Yeah, sure.
thank you.
Good?
Well, I had my phone. I would have said thank you.
Reed Smith typically. No, I have it, but then I don't. And nonprofit help, such as big.
Why did you raise your voice like that?
You're so aggressive.
Okay. In addition to their formal and informal policies.
You both have to be on the same page.
In addition to their formal and informal policies, Reed Smith.
Dude, you have to wait. I was like, I thought we were taking a break. I put on my
Do you
phone.
want to take a break? Okay, just pause it. I'm gonna. All right, let's do this. Is it rolling?